We've been out on the trail with this 2026 Subaru Outback Wilderness, and I'm going to admit, this might be the most improved vehicle of 2026, and we're going to tell you all about it. I'm Randy Stern, along with George Torline, and this is Victory in Reseda. The new 2026 Outback has been elevated to the mid-size SUV class. While retaining most of the dimensions from the previous model, the roofline was increased by an inch. As a result, there is now more headroom and a taller cargo area. The angle of the rear roofline is now steeper, also creating more cargo utilization. The result is a handsome and boxier body shape. Our test vehicle is the Wilderness model, which offers its own unique styling that includes a large grille area, which has been replaced by a more aggressive and integrated combination front clip and front bumper, along with extended protection bars. More aggressive cladding is added to the lower part of the body, along with a cladded rear liftgate applique and bumpers. There are plenty of anodized copper finishes all around. That includes the trim pieces for the roof rack, around the fog lamps, and reversing lights. Ground clearance remains at 9.5 inches. The Subaru Wilderness badge is found on the C-pillar trim as well as on the liftgate. A set of black finished 17-inch alloy wheels finish up the exterior look, along with raised white leather all-terrain tires. Stepping inside is perhaps one of the most improved interiors of the year. The 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster is simply beautiful, functional, and easy to read. The controls are easy to use, some of which has been separated from the infotainment system. It was great to see an easy-to-use climate control system and the X-Mode button on the steering wheel. The center stack now features a 12.1-inch landscape-oriented infotainment touchscreen that is multiple times better than the previous generation. Driven by a quicker Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, the interface is more responsive, quick, and easier to use. There's a suite of Google services as part of the infotainment system. However, you can wirelessly connect your smartphone through Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Our Wilderness test vehicle came with the available 12-speaker Harman Kardon premium audio system. The seats are upholstered in star text both front and back, with the Subaru Wilderness logo embossed on the front headrests, along with anodized copper trim inside the cabin. The cargo area offers 34.6 cubic feet before you could fold down the second row of seat backs. This expands to a maximum of 80.5 cubic feet to the backs of the front seats. The 2026 Wilderness is powered by a 260 horsepower, 2.4-liter turbocharged Boxer 4-cylinder engine. It also puts down 277 pound-feet of torque. A continuously variable transmission, Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, and a dual-mode X-Mode traction enhancement system round out the 2026 Outback Wilderness driveline.
In our thermal imaging test of heated surfaces with the 2026 Subaru Outback Wilderness, we found heating elements for the heated front seats offered coverage starting from the upper backs and down the seat backs through 2 narrow strips and into the seat bottoms to 4 rectangular areas under the thighs and knees, yet they didn't extend into the side bolsters. For the rear seats, the outer 2 seats are heated with a similar heating pattern, though extending out from the seat bottom bolsters in the thigh area. The heated steering wheel did not have any heating elements between the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock positions. However, the remaining diameter and circumference of the wheel offered excellent coverage. Outside, the side mirrors are heated, and the rear window defrosting coils provided coverage across the glass with an area of heating emphasis under the rear wiper.
We would love to tell you more, so let's join Randy and George as they take the 2026 Subaru Outback Wilderness somewhere on a dusty road.
So Randy, we're driving the 2026 Subaru Outback.
In the Wilderness trim.
Very nice.
It is. It gives you everything, essentially. Even a little bit more when it comes to the mechanicals, the suspension, and not only that, but you also have a lot of protective cladding all around.
They really made it more of a boxier shape than a wagon this time around.
Which makes it now an SUV, a bona fide SUV. the increase of an inch in headroom all the way across to the back of the cargo area. The window angle is more steeper, so therefore you have more space in the cargo area. And that's great for dogs, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. For pets, they love these.
When you have more of a boxy cargo area, then you eliminate the issues with claustrophobia for pets. Because in the previous model, you have a more rakish roof line and glass line. So a pet would probably feel uncomfortable. Now you have a situation where you can have a comfortable ride for the pets.
Right, because their ability to see out and not feeling closed in, I think helps ease their anxiety a little bit.
Exactly. Not just that, but also gives them more space to roam back there.
Now, with the Wilderness, you do still have that extra cargo carrying capability up on the roof racks. You can have up to 800 pounds up there.
Those are some meaty racks, I tell you. Very, very heavy and also pretty good for assisting. You would need to climb up there.
And with the Wilderness, you got more of an aggressive front clip.
Yes, they combine more of a bull bar type of protection along with the grille, along with the bumper. They added specific fog lamps up front as well. And of course, you can't miss a Wilderness without that anodized copper trim inside and out.
Yeah, because it's on the steering wheel, on the shifter, and yeah.
The trim around the fog lamps, the trim around the backup lamps in the back.
So as far as the driving, the 2.4 liter turbo intercooled, it really scoots this along.
This is the right engine for this vehicle because it's not the 260 horsepower as it is to 277 pound-feet of torque that will get you out of trouble. So there's a lot of low-end power that you'll be able to get out of, say, muddy situations or precarious conditions. It's really the right engine for the Wilderness. You also have the CVT, you have the symmetrical all-wheel drive, and you have a dual mode X mode. The saving grace of this 2026 Outback Wilderness is the dual mode X mode. So the first mode you get to is snow and dirt. So a road like this, you could really do a better job of grip and traction in that particular mode. Now let's just say that the snow is piled up, they haven't plowed it, and this is all muddy. That's where you put into the deep snow and mud mode. That does a very good job, and it ties in, like you said earlier, with the suspension system.
Yeah, the suspension system, they really, I think, did a cool thing where they have adaptive dampers or adaptive shocks. And those are variable depending on how your drive modes are set. So if you're using an X mode, it will help soften the ride, especially if you're in an off-road situation like we are, or a gravel road. It'll smoothen things out based on the car's electronic computer. It senses movement and it reacts to that to help soften the bumps and to really make it a very smooth experience. We've got some potholes and some ruddiness here, and it's just gliding over.
And same thing when you're out on the streets and the highway, is that it will glide over potholes as well, especially normal mode. The suspension has been really well done for the 2026 Outback. And in the Wilderness, you do get a softer ride. Yes, you do have a little bit of suspension travel because of the 9.5-inch ground clearance versus 8.7 on other Outback trims. So you have some advantages in the Wilderness model.
Especially if you're going to take it more deeper off the road where you might have some muddy areas that you're trying to get through. That extra ground clearance is wonderful, and the way they do the rear differential, the bell housing doesn't stick down like on many off-road vehicles where
Yes.
you lose out on ground clearance. You have to worry about taking out your rear differential.
Oh yeah,
This doesn't have that problem.
they really did a good job of the engineering of the chassis area of this particular vehicle. Now, speaking of off-roading, you actually put this on an off-road course.
A little bit. I put it through its paces, and yeah, so some pretty good mud puddles and limited traction scenarios. Even though the tires are off-road tires, but they're not overly aggressive, it still pulled me through just fine without any issues. Exercised the suspension a little bit to see how well it can cope with some uneven surfaces, and it did great on that.
Which is exactly why people really gravitate to the wilderness trim, is they want that extra agility to be able to go through the roughest conditions. And it does a very good job of it.
And it's no wonder we see so many of these up here in Minnesota with the winters that we have.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of which, you do have a brand new infotainment system with a multi-camera view that's in here. And because the infotainment system is quicker, more responsive, you'll be able to see those views rather nicely.
Yeah, so you can see what's coming up in front of you. Perhaps you have an obstacle you're trying to avoid on either side or in front or behind. The cameras help with that.
Oh yeah. I also notice this view.
Ooh, top down.
Exactly. Because again, you don't want to miss a rock.
No.
You don't want to miss anything that's unusual. So you'll be able to approach it a lot more carefully. But seeing is important.
Especially if you got a tight parking spot somewhere too.
Yes, exactly.
You know, if you're at the shopping mall or what have you, at the grocery store, and you're in a little tight spot, the cameras can help.
But for the most part, what I love about this is, again, compared to last year's model, which we did a review, and you can see it right up here, even though it was a Touring XT versus a Wilderness that we have right now, everything has basically been improved. The quality of the interior, the digital instrument cluster, much better. It's got better screens now. Again, I hate to repeat myself, but I'm impressed with this system. It's backed by a Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. It's quick, responsive, even with smartphone mirroring.
Yeah, it's very responsive compared to what they had previously.
Exactly. And the touch points. Better, much better this time around.
Much smoother. Not a lot of piano black, a tad in the center console, but other than that, they got some other nice textures.
Up front, seats are pretty decent, pretty good.
Very nice.
And back, oof, the room. The back seat room is exceptional.
And this is equipped with the floor mats. If you want to get the mud out, you can just hose those down.
Yeah. And even if you get like other trims, like the Premium, the Limited, the Touring, as well as the XT versions of the Limited and the Touring, I mean, you still get that space. You still get that utilization. And that big difference is, again, 2 cubic feet more than compared to the last year's model.
Now, one thing this doesn't have, which has been kind of a trend lately, is a panoramic roof. This has kind of more just a regular roof, which is great for the front passengers, but you know, you're just seeing panoramic roofs on more vehicles these days.
Well, but Subaru owners will probably tell you that a pano roof is probably not an important feature for them.
True, especially if you're going to put a lot of things up there that could potentially break the glass.
Exactly.
Good point. So with that, Randy, in summary, what do we think of this 2026 Subaru Outback?
I want to go back to what I said at the earlier part of this video. This may be the most improved vehicle of 2026. And it is. It really is. It's giving you more cargo space, a better cargo area, more squared off. It's giving you better infotainment, better instrument cluster, better quality. However, they kept to a lot of the things that make this vehicle work, especially the boxer engine, the turbo boxer engine, the higher ground clearance for the Wilderness. There's a lot to love about this vehicle. The new 2026 Subaru Outback is available in 6 trims. 3 of them are equipped with the more powerful turbocharged engine. Pricing starts at $34,995. Our Wilderness test vehicle came with a sticker price of $50,930. So if you like what you watch, don't forget to click the like, subscribe, and the notification bell so you can find out when our next video is coming out. And don't forget to read all of our great content at victoryandreseda.net. Thanks for watching.